money. For me and for you, like to try it practically, I just put some screenshots. It's a very famous example when you are studying IoT. So the summary, we're going to start by, like I said, defining what is Industry 4.0. I'm talking about several revolutions. AI, then IoT, then Industry 4.0, and IoT digital revolution. So most of us, we think about the digital revolution with the third industrial revolution, but like in the fourth, we have the convergence of a lot of different technologies. After that, we're going to talk about industrial AI's impact on manufacturing. So when we are talking about industrial revolutions, we are talking about manufacturing. So it's not just the software engineering part. So for me, I'm not an expert on hardware or sensors. So do not expect me tonight to talk about that, but I'm an expert on data subjects and analytics, and I will try to guide you through all of the aspects. During the presentation, if you have any questions, and there is no dumb questions, just unmute yourself and spill it out. Just say whatever you want to say, and I will try to answer your questions. So after that, we're going to talk about the combination of AI and IoT, which is a powerful one. And a lot of like big investors are looking forward to this like strong combinations. I know in Tunisia, we have Telnet. Telnet has launched their Cube satellite. It was a big success for INSAT. Cheers, guys. And a big success for all of us, the Tunisians. For some of the presentation materials, like I said, originally it was a live streamed with Polytechnique Jakarta. So I will stay faithful to them and like keep the footnotes during the presentation. And last, we're going to conclude the subjects. Hopefully you will have a lot of questions, and let's dive in. So what is Industry 4.0? Industry 4.0 is the digital transformation of manufacturing, production, and related industries and value creation process. So in here, we are already talking about the convergence of many industries into like one revolution. So in the agriculture revolution that starts in England and then went all over Europe, then US and the rest of the world, we cannot talk about a lot of technologies coming together into a specific time slot and space. But the more revolutions we have, the more like different technologies we get. And then at a certain point, this was like a research from, I think, from Harvard. And it talks why we are living in a special moment. Like in history, there is always a special moment when a lot of theories, ideas, and practical things come together, and it gives us like transforming experiences. So for the third revolution, which we were part of, and now we are part of the fourth, is the computer and automation. So if you go to a car manufacturer, the manufacturing line and the whole supply chain is computerized and automated. I know it's not the perfect case in all companies, especially in third world companies, but like if you want to make money and make like a global impact, you gotta have those. And if you do not have those, you will miss the fourth revolution. This is like our biggest concern in North Africa. Are we going to ride the wave, or like we're gonna miss it again? Hopefully we're gonna ride it. So Industry 4.0 is used interchangeably with the fourth industrial revolution. So it depends on the literature that you are reading. And based on that, you will find these two technical terms. And it represents a new stage in the organization and control of industrial value chain. So, for example, I was reading about Elon Musk. He was saying that they will launch a new phone. And as you know, Elon Musk has the Starlink project. A lot of satellites. I don't know exactly what we call them, but I will just say Demure satellite, and it will give internet access to the whole world. This is a revolutionary technology. It's brought to you by engineers, idol, Elon Musk. Sometimes when I go to business schools, they do not like him. I don't know why, but if you do not like him yourself, please leave a message or a comment why not. So he was saying they will create their own cell phones, but about his persona, there are a lot of journalists like saying said that, but we need to verify, especially this is very fairly news. And this is like a perfect example of IoT. So we have edge devices, so our mobile phones and like smart watches. We have like smart homes and all of those things. They are they are sending and receiving data. So to optimize the process, to optimize your access to the internet using the Starlink project, internet accessibility thing, it's better if you have a customized phone to do the job. So is that IT or AI or something else? Actually, that's the convergence of a lot of technologies. It's a convergence of a lot of efforts. I will be excited to see it come to life. And this will give you like an introduction what is the fourth industrial revolution. Because in the third one, the devices do not like send and receive data. They are automated to do specific tasks. They are not usually linked to a network where there is this kind of exchange, but now they do. So this is like the major difference. It's like the devices that are communicated with the outside world, and they are making their own decisions. By own decisions, I think like most of us are engineers, or at least we have some tech background, and we know that like AI has enabled these devices to take some decisions in certain use cases. We are not talking about the Terminator scenario. So hopefully you get what I'm saying in this first slide, because we're gonna build up on that. And by the way, this is not like an introductory thing. And the screen captures I have made about the workshop at the end, they are not also an introductory thing. So if you have a friend interested in new technologies, cloud AI or IoT, please tell him about it so he can share his thoughts with us. So what is IoT? This is a big subject. So when I was at INSAT, I think in 2012, one of our professors was like, the biggest thing is going to be in 5 years is the cloud technologies. And that was the case. Even though a lot of people have known that in Tunisia, we did not ride the wave of cloud technology. So we are hardly trying to implement that right now. So what about IoT? So after like 2 or 3 years, like people started to talk about IoT is going to be the future. The pioneers now, I think they are Telnet, which is a Tunisian company, which is something great. And we're going to talk about the data aspects of it and what is IoT in general. So the Internet of Things, or IoT, is a system of interrelated computing devices, mechanical and digital machines, which are not my field of expertise, but it's data, objects, animals, and people. So even for animals, like if you have a smartwatch, you will be like 24/7 connected to a certain network that analyzes your data. It receives and sends the data all the time and doing the analysis and trying to make optimization and give you some like decisions. For example, if you have a certain heartbeat, it indicates, for example, if you have certain disease. For example, animals, if you have a cat, if you are a cat lover or a dog lover, you can put a bracelet on it and track them down. So your animal now is sending and receiving data. So the idea behind IoT is to put like an IP address on everything, and it will be connected to a network. So this is like things, like anything, and is connected to a certain network, and there is like give and take between them. So every device will have a unique identifier and the ability to transfer data over a network without requiring human-to-human or computer-to-human interaction. So we are cutting the middleman. it's a direct connection. And this is like the leap between Industry 3.0 and Industry 3.4. It's the direct access to network. Now, what is AI and why these subjects in combination together are really important? So artificial intelligence, for me at least, I would define it as I generally define it as the property of machines that mimic human intelligence. For me, the most important phrase is mimicking human intelligence. We try to come up with systems in some defined tasks that can outperform human beings in that specific task. We human beings operate based on the data we have. And these devices have their own data. So if we, the humans, are capable to make rational decisions based on what we have of data, devices can do that too. So we are not talking about simple devices. They will be transformed to smart devices. So AI mimics human intelligence as characterized by behaviors such as cognitive abilities, memory, learning, and decision making. Let me break it down to you. Cognitive abilities, in here we mean computer vision. It's like you make your program capable, like program in combination with your hardware. Let's call it, for example, a mobile phone can see a mouse, like keyboard and a mouse, not the real mouse. And it can even see a real mouse and say, hey, gotcha, there is a mouse in your home. That's like the computer vision ability. You can have self-driving cars. I know most of you know about Tesla. Tesla, they have like their own smart program. That program, like the umbrella of technologies, is called autonomous vehicles. And it's one of the best applications of IoT in combination with AI, because the car will be emitting data and receiving data and trying to make the decision by itself. One of the other cognitive abilities are the NLP, natural language processing. And for example, Alexa or Google Assistant or Siri, they will be like listening to you in real time and try to answer you. Those answers are based on the data that we have trained from, like, for if it's Google, it's trained from Google gigantic data sets. The same thing with Amazon. But Alexa itself, like, it's an example of an IoT device. A device is connected to a network, and from your data, it can generate like it can have a basic conversation with you. Hopefully, in the future, it will be a smart conversation. Moreover, in the cognitive abilities too, we have speech recognition, which, like, when you talk, it's another, like, it's a subfield of NLP, and when you talk, it's for NLP is processing the text, like the data, but speech recognition is like a more advanced scenario. There is speech synthesis. There is a lot of interesting cognitive abilities. For these, it is like sophisticated to code them from scratch. That's why in this presentation, I was like including the word cloud each time, because cloud services, you have these kind of things already implemented. So you do not need to go all over this by yourself. And now, Industry 4.0 and IoT, the key elements of the digital revolutions. So the best sources of information are like research and those like research papers, some websites on the internet that will give you like what to expect behind every technology. So in Industry 4.0 and the IoT digital revolutions, we have sensor expertise and machine connection. So sensors, for example, you can have a rocket, and inside those rocket there will be sensors, heat sensors, to see for example, the fuel, how the rocket is burning fuel. You cannot place those sensors inside the fire itself, but you're gonna place them elsewhere, and they need like to emit the temperature like every millisecond or so. So the big topic in IoT is like, I don't know how to divide it 50% software, 50% hardware, but sometimes, at least for me, it seems like more based on the hardware part. You need like some understanding of how that hardware works. And this is why we have the companies with people with different expertise in that. Another thing is sensing as a software. So for you, I think you know software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, function as a service, database as a service, a lot of things as a service. Now we are talking about sensing as a service. So for example, in your home, let's give the same example about heat sensors. You will like try to detect, for example, how warm your house is or how cold it is, and you can actually control it from a mobile application. Therefore, you're going to have a smart house, and of course, a smart home will have even more sensors for almost everything. But like, I have an example in my mind, but I will give it to you later. We have edge management concept, and the edge management concept, like I said, for example, your laptop is an edge, your mobile is an edge, the smartwatch is an edge. A lot of gadgets we are using, they are edge devices since they are connected to the internet, and the management does not always happen in the big servers. You will have like unallocated resources locally, even maybe on your mobile application. For example, if you have, if you have, let me check something really quick. Okay. So I'm trying to check if it works. So for example, for the edge management, you can like define, for example, a function as a service. So if you go use Google Cloud Platform or use, for example, Azure, you're gonna find the function as a service. And when your device, for example, sees a rise in temperature level, it will alert you immediately. It does not need to go to a SAM server elsewhere in Europe or the USA, and then process that information and get back to you. The other example is the AI example. For example, brilliant English. Let's talk about OpenCV. OpenCV is a library, is well known with mobile developers, and when a mobile developer wants to implement an AI solution into their application, they use this library. It was brought to my attention with my colleagues, my mobile developer colleagues, and instead of having a whole AI model that can be like several hundreds of megabytes or gigabytes, and every time you make the big interaction, it can capture the data and analyze locally. So you have an edge management concept, and those models are trained, and you can download them as 5 megabytes, 10 megabytes, even 20. It's very lightweight, and you put it in your mobile, and it will interact immediately. The next thing is securing connection and device management. For that, for the device management thing, we have covered that with the sensors. And always the most convenient way is to imagine that you have sensors and you control them with your mobile phones. For the data lakes and data models, you generate a lot of data with these devices connected on different networks, and you dump them into data lakes. So data lakes, they are big storage. You can find them on GCP, AWS, Amazon, and you can build your own, and it's going to be unstructured. So that's where the data lake concept comes in. But what's the difference between a data lake and a data warehouse? A warehouse is usually organized. So you will have your data lake, then you will organize your data, put it into your warehouse, and this is where comes data engineering. Data engineering combines business intelligence with big data, and it's the most exponential growth in positions, professional positions. So for you as a students, and even for professionals, if you want to get a good job, a great salary, please have a deep understanding of big data. And then you can have like your JCP or Azure degree in data engineering. And then after that, the data model, like I was talking about modeling, you create your model on the cloud or on premises and you download it into your mobile application. And the integration is not always easy. So for me, I use TensorFlow because it has TensorFlow Lite. And TensorFlow Lite enables you to put your AI models trained on IoT data. And simply, not always simply, it depends on the phone that you are having. You can put it on your phone and you have your personal AI enabled application. And for advanced analytics, that's what we are talking about, like machine learning AI. They are part of the advanced analytics and business model creation and business use case. So in our beloved Tunisia, we are not generating enough data about almost anything. So in the future, that kind of data will help us as the youth have more business opportunities. So for me, like usually students consult me what to do in their graduation projects. Last year, I have mentored 17 graduates, and I had the chance to navigate 10 different projects with 10 different companies for free. And some of them, they have data generated by hospitals, data generated by transportation means, data generated in financial institutions, and every different sector have its own challenging in like building those models, even advanced analytics or machine learning. And having those models put into place, that's a big business opportunity. So one of them was the hospital in Sfax, and the student tried to predict the traffic that's going to happen day by day, week by week, month by month. And at that time, COVID was sky high, rocketing numbers of people sick. And I think hopefully it helped the hospital and Sfax. Other ones, they were like with fintech companies. I don't want to mention the names because they are very sensitive about their data, but like this is huge for us. This can create wealth for our generation, so we can be independent, at least financially independent from our local institutions. And if you are from other countries, I know Region 8, IEEE Region 8 is really big. Tell us how you do it in your own countries. Now, artificial intelligence, the driving force of Industry 4.0. Artificial intelligence is a buzzword, and this buzzword is an umbrella term for a lot of technologies. And in those technologies, you can develop niche skills. And this is why I always say to business owners: do not expect your machine learning engineer to be fluent in NLP, computer vision, time series. No, he need to develop or she need to develop niche skills in every subfield. Not like one individual will do all of that. No, each individual will be like, I'm going to do computer vision. I'm going to be very efficient in computer vision. And NLP will be the same, time series will be the same. Why? Because if you are talking about predictive maintenance, there is like a computer vision aspect. you can see the decay of the components of the supply chain you are using. Like if you have a lot of automated, like I forget how to call them, like to go from point A to point B, you will have like a key, like a chain that like the product will start from here, slide, 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 until it arrives to point B. You can have a camera and use a computer vision system to detect if the like chain is decaying. You can use it with robots, you can use it with almost anything. But like to have the kind of prediction if your materials are gonna go bad, you need to be a good computer vision engineer. Not today doing NLP and the other day doing I don't know, autonomous vehicles. If you want to do it, please be my guest. But like the industry are looking for niche skills, and the people who are doing everything, I advise against that. Even though I'm the kind of guy which my boss tells me to do everything. So hopefully in the future I will be like very fluent in a niche thing. The other thing is generative design. So yesterday, a big news was you can draw anything by your hand. It was an open source library. So in that open source library, you can create your own images. You draw a stupid thing, and the AI will translate it to uh, a real life use case, like a real life picture. Of course, you're gonna notice the difference, but if you are buying stock pictures, that's huge for you. If you are a creator, that's huge for you. So I did not memorize the name of the library, but like it's one of the big applications. After that, we have price forecasting of raw material. For me, this is like a time series challenge. And in this time series challenge, you cannot like bring expertise from elsewhere and like try to have a cutting edge price forecasting of raw materials. But how will this contribute to IoT? Is the forecasting part. So with the data you have, you can forecast the shortage of materials that you need to build cars, build building, bridges, airports. You can, like, from the data of the supply chain, predict the shortages that is going to happen. So if in the workspace you have cameras and those cameras are equipped with computer vision programs, they can detect your stock of raw materials and give you feedback instantly, simultaneously. So you do not have like people on the ground counting one by one. For edge analytics, it's the same thing that we have mentioned with IoT. For robotics, I advise you to check Boston Dynamics videos. So I will go to YouTube. So in here, we're gonna put Boston Dynamics. And this is one of the biggest AI robotics company in the world. And of course, it is a lot of IoT. Like this robot is equipped of millions and millions of dollars worth of sensors that are sending data each like millisecond or so, maybe even more than that. Are you seeing the robot dancing in the live stream?
Yes, you can see it.
What?
We
I
can see the
think.
video.
Okay, great. So the one in yellow was one of the most famous, and they have like a lot of yellow robots. But like the biggest invention for Boston Dynamics in the end of 2020 was the white one, and all they made all their robots dance. This is like heavily relied on data generated by sensors, and for me, like it's one of the perfect combinations of AI and IoT. So this is one robot that has a lot of edge devices, and those edge devices are emitting a lot of data, which is getting processed locally. Like this is the edge analytics. I'm not very connoisseur of what they are doing behind the hood, but it's like very incentivizing to search the subject. So one of like the biggest is process optimization. Everybody's talking about it, how we can use AI to optimize any process. I think the Tunisian company Instadeep have done something similar, and it's like printing like electrical circuits. I forget how they have used reinforcement learning or a deep reinforcement learning for that, and they put that publicly on LinkedIn. Like you can go to their LinkedIn. They share a lot of insights and a lot of research. For me, I can't memorize everything I read, but like here in Tunisia, we are doing great things too. So it's keep an eye on what's happening in our industry. Uh, I think like the best example for IoT is Telnet. The best example for AI is InstaDeep. But I'm a little bit stupid. I should do some publicity to the investment bank I'm working with. They're gonna give us like bonuses, like yearly bonuses. So I should say like great stuff about them. So if you want to have an internship or you want to have a job in financial industry, please send me your like LinkedIn profile. It's better if you reach me on LinkedIn. I can share that with you. We do not have IoT, but we have AI, at least in my team, which is the innovation team. And the other teams you can do from web development to security to infrastructure. You can do finance. You can do a lot of things. So this is an opportunity for you to do that. Moving on, now we're going to combine IoT and AI. I know since the beginning of the presentation, I was already like, hey, this is AI, this is IoT, this is an example of AI, this is an example of IoT, and how we can merge them. But this is like the best part. So the convergence of AI and IoT can redefine the way industries, businesses, and economies function. AI-enabled IoT creates intelligent machines that simulate smart behavior and supports in decision-making with a little or no human interference. That's why I have showed you the robot of Boston Dynamics. It's not like there was an engineer manipulating with like using a joystick, for example, or using his phone to control it. It was dancing on the rhythm. So that's like a very powerful combination. The second thing, and I think it's like the most lucrative, is Tesla. So Tesla have data storages, and they have collected data more than BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, and I think 3 or 4 other companies combined. This is how big Tesla is, and this is why on the stock market the value of Tesla stocks are really high, because in the future they're gonna be more of a tech company more than an electric vehicle company. It's not really the hardware that we count with Tesla, but the software part. And for a car to drive itself on the road itself needs to be equipped with sensors. And the cars next to other cars, they need to be equipped with sensors and need to be computed in real time buy those cars. There is no central system that will guide everyone, but there is a central system to keep an eye on everything. But it will not calculate every edge device by itself. And in this use case, the car itself is an edge device composed of a lot of edge devices. So while IoT deals with devices interacting using the internet, AI makes the devices learn from their data and experience. So the example for this will be, I will try to give you a good example. Oh, Alexa. So when Alexa was released, it couldn't understand a lot of things. The same thing with Siri and Google Assistant. But what we are doing, like every time they hear us talking, every time they record what we are saying, every time we hit the Google search, we are improving the AI system. And a very interesting number was come to my attention. Google said that 15% of all the searches are new searches that have never been searched before. For me, I thought like we have already asked everything, but Google is saying only 15%. So every time you type on your keyboard, there is a chance that you are creating something, a query that the AI have never seen. And therefore, we are training the AI. It's the same thing with edge devices. Like the edge device, they will send your personal data, which a big privacy thing, but who cares? Well, I will come back to the ethical part at the end. You and your devices, you will be training the AI to be better every time. And that will be accelerated with edge devices. So IoT actually will enable the acceleration of the AI supremacy. We're going to have artificial super intelligence and artificial general intelligence, and it's going to be accelerated by IoT. This is like the biggest two technologies of our generation, I think. So this is the semantics data platform, and it shows you how the data sources can be. It can be a database, it can be a legacy system, it can be a service app, it can be an application, it can be a web server, and it can be a file. And for that, you need a lot of data engineers and business intelligence engineers and infrastructure engineers. But if you use cloud, you can combine all of those into 2 or 3 engineers, and you can load your data and then process your data. And every image you are seeing, it refers to a specific cloud service. And at the end, so the whole cycle, the one in violet and the one in blue and the one in green, they are different specialties. You will have different engineers for those fields, and it's a real-time simulation of what really happens with any device connected to a network and a smart system. This is transformative. You can find, if you like this slide, in just this slide, if you implement it in any company, their return on investment is going to be high. And if most companies in any country adopt that, like the USA, like Japan, like Germany, like Netherlands, it's transformative. It creates a lot of wealth. It's making their life easier, and it will enable smart decisions. So when you hear about the government talking about digitalization, it's like, hey, bro, we are living like 20 years in the past. Now we are talking about smart digitalization. You, with your data, enable decision making through this, but like just being digital and like Now every governmental agency have their own website, and we are so digital. Where is the data? And that's the gap between us and the countries where most of their companies are using these kind of platforms and systems. And by the way, this is the only way to enable IoT, let's say, glory. You will not get the glory of IoT if you do not have these kind of systems put into place. So the example, so we're going to talk about AI and IoT. For cloud, Google Cloud Services for IoT and AI are all located in one platform. It's called Google IoT Platform, where edge devices send data to Cloud IoT Edge. So on the right, you can see the services. So each blue hexagon is a different service. For me, what I do right now is the blue box in the middle is the Cloud Edge Analytics with TensorFlow and making models. Then we feed the data to be ingested and processed, and then we put it and store it into different cloud storages. It depends if you have multimedia files. If you have like tabular data, is going to be put into different kind of storage. If you have IoT data, is going to be put in a different storage. And remember, IoT is live streaming data, so you need to put cloud, for example, Cloud pops up. It's publication subscription to ingest your real-time IoT communications. This can be not easy to implement, but it can be really hard to do from scratch. So Cloud IoT Core connect, manage, and ingest data through Google Cloud PubSub. Then the data is stored in cloud storage. Then Google offers cloud machine learning to implement AI solution and other services like big data analytics, like BigQuery. So BigQuery is like a platform that can manage gigabytes and terabytes of data in just a couple of seconds. Well, for terabytes of data, it's going to be a couple of minutes or hours, but on your laptop, it's going to be a couple of weeks. So that's the big difference. And the data, it can be from a factory, it can be from a vehicle, it can be from a hospital, a university, like almost anything equipped with connected to a network can emit that kind of data. So it's for you, actually, it's for us, the engineers, to figure out the architecture that we need to use. After that, I will give you the example of a very, very popular example for IoT and AI. It's the taxi in New York. So in New York, they put publicity on top of the taxis, and those taxis are emitting data every second. So the taxi position, it calculates the objective is to display ads and how to be the most efficient in doing that. So the taxi, they will give their coordinates, is going to be ingested by cloud publication subscription, and then it's going to be sent to Cloud Data Flow when you can see your whole data pipelines. It's going to be put into Cloud BigQuery for big data analysis. And you can model that data using cloud machine learning. And Cloud BigQuery, after doing the analytics, you can use cloud data preparation. Sometimes for me, it's really not confusing, but I confuse Google Cloud Platform with Microsoft Azure. They have the same colors, and the names are really close to each other, and like everything is like similar. So you can do this as using GCP or Azure, and of course you can use it with AWS, implement the same scenarios. And after that, for AWS is going to be SageMaker. The SageMaker, you're going to deploy those models based on real-time data and those results will be communicated to taxis. The one you are seeing in black and green, those are the dots that represents the taxis in the city of New York. And if you do not know New York, the New Yorkers do not have they do not own cars because parking is so expensive. So if you go to New York, you will find that most people do not have a driving license. Because if you have a driving license, you will buy a car, but then when you go to work, there is no a place where to park your car. It's really expensive. And it could be, if you go to Manhattan, like for one day, you can like pay $100, $200, $300. If you go where you find the big firms, and especially the financial companies, you can pay $1,000 for a parking. There is a very famous parking in New York is like $60,000. I don't know, it was like a real thing, but at that time, like media were like frenzy talking about it. It's $60,000 a day. So relying on a taxi is a big business, and this is why the dataset is widely adopted to get an introductory level to how to use IoT data and build your AI models. So hopefully you have liked tonight's presentation, and I'm free to ask me whatever you want. Thank you. So guys, don't be shy, ask all your questions. And if you do not have ones, then I'll give you like a couple of seconds. Then we will decide. So I guess thank you all guys for your attendance. I hope I had given you new informations and you are excited about these kind of subjects. Otherwise, please feel free to reach out to me on my LinkedIn or maybe Facebook if that's convenient for you. And thank you for having me. Good night.
Bonne nuit.
Thank you, Mo.
Thank you. Goodbye.
I hope you guys enjoyed this workshop.